could you please share your thoughts on Mylan's comeback and the impact he's made this season?
Yeah, it's nice to have Mylan back. He runs the ball hard. He breaks tackles. He's a downhill guy. For being as slight as he is, you'd be amazed how many how many tackles he runs through. Running really hard. We've been very proud of him, no question about that. And then he got the one kickoff return too. So hopefully we can get it blocked up for him and let him go and use his speed.
Thank you.
Despite their record, you anticipate this being a typical, very physical Stony Brook game this week?
Absolutely. All three phases are very physical. They're physical in the kicking game. They're physical on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Chuck Pori does a great job with that type of mentality there. So, yeah, I told our guys already, you just need to be ready for a physical football game.
3 games into the season, you're having 2 offensive coordinators. Have you had to tweak anything about how you approached it before the season? And if so, what kind of adjustments have you had to make?
Well, after the first game, we made some adjustments.
I mean, big things or?
No, just little things. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten better on offense. Yeah, we made some kind of adjustments after the first game.
After Saturday's game, you said on the radio that if we play like that, we won't win many games. Do you still stand on that, or having watched the game and having seen some things?
Well, defensively, if we play that way, they'll get 40 on us pretty easily. And so if we score 41, we got a chance to win the game. We can't play like that defensively. We got to play better than that, and we will play better than that.
Wayne, 81 yards is a lot of yards for anybody to run, especially a linebacker. I'm wondering what's going through your head when you're making that trip, 81 yards.
I mean, I honestly just couldn't believe that I ended up with the ball. I mean, I was just running to make a tackle, and I see the ball fly up, and it ends up in my hand. So, honestly, the whole time I was running, I was like, I can't believe that the ball's in my hands right now, and I'm taking it back to the house. So.
Tristan used to say he and you would watch film, especially after games. And I'm wondering if you ever thought you'd be in this position playing next to him, or that you were sort of slotted in to be a backup here for several years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, whenever I first got here, I was a backup for a few years behind Tristan and Tyler, and then eventually Phil. But yeah, no, I mean, I remember those days. I mean, us watching film. I mean, we still do it, but especially whenever I first got here, they kind of took me under their wing, watching film and all that type of stuff. And I envisioned it one day. I'm fortunate to be able to play with them. So.
Thibodeau's a long way from Richmond. How did that path come about?
Well, actually, Coach Lacey, who was here a few years ago, D-tackles coach, he actually used to coach at Southeastern Louisiana University down there. And they were recruiting me, and then he came up here. And to be honest, I had never even heard of Richmond. And then he started recruiting me, and I took one visit to campus going into my senior year, and I fell in love with it, and I knew this is where I needed to be.
You're about an hour away from where Kyle lives. Mm-hmm. Were you familiar with one another before you arrived here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we played. I mean, he's a year younger than me, but we played each other in high school. Our high schools actually play each other every year. So I was familiar with him. He was a great player in high school. So I was really, really excited that we were recruiting him and that he eventually committed and came here to play.
I wonder if you had any hand in the recruitment, knowing him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I as soon as Coach Lacey, asked me about him and said that they were going to try to recruit him, I was like, I know him a little bit. I'll reach out to him, and that's when we really kind of started to build our friendship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Message that Coach just gave about defense, not needing to play better to win as you move on. How do you guys manifest that in practice? What do you guys see that needs to be better as you move forward?
I mean, really just attention to detail. Those types of things, obviously. And then a big thing was just angles and pursuits of the football, get to the football, make sure we have all 11 guys running to the football on every play.
Have you ever gone 80 yards in any game ever in your career?
Not that I can remember, no.
It's a long way, isn't it?
It is. It was a pretty long way. So.
Is there any point in the back of your mind you think, is somebody coming to get me? Is somebody, you don't want to turn around and look like the jockeys never want to look and see who's behind them. But, I mean, what does go through your head?
I mean, I just saw open space at first, and then I see the quarterback who was actually running really, really fast. But then eventually I felt Marlum, and I think it was Q and a couple other guys. I think Trey Tomlinson were all around me, so I knew I was fine. If there was anybody behind me, somebody was going to pick them up. So
tired?
A little bit. I was more tired, a few minutes later when I had to go back out on kickoff, but right after.
Sort of a hybrid safety linebacker in high school, right? Was there? How did you determine what you were going to be in college, or was that determined for you?
I mean, that was really just up to the coaches, honestly. But I kind of had an idea, like in high school, whenever I started going to camps and getting recruited. I mean, they would tell me, they would be honest with me, like, you know, this is kind of what we see you as. So I knew that I was going to eventually play linebacker once I got to the next level.
And would you gain 20 pounds, and was that difficult or a piece of cake?
I would say in high school I was actually still around 210, 215. So it wasn't too. I haven't gained too much weight since then. But so yeah.
In your experience, what's a typical Stony Brook opponent like to play? And we always talk about it being physical. How physical is it? What do you guys expect on set?
That's the biggest thing. They're always physical. Offense, defense, special teams, all the way around. They're physical, and they're going to want to run the football. That's just what they want to do. You know, so we just got to come out ready to play and match their physicality, and then some.
Coach mentioned the personal fouls and cutting down on them. In a physical game, those can come up fairly easily. I mean, do you guys talk about having restraint, having patience, you know, backing off and things like that when a game can get chippy?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we watched the film from last Saturday, and, you know, there were some, you know, stupid penalties that we had. And, you know, it's really just, you know, once the whistle blows, the play's over, no matter what happens. You know, whether one of their guys does something, you know, it's always the last guy in that, you know, gets the flag. So it's just being disciplined. As
you come back from this knee injury, was there ever a question in your mind that you would be fit and ready to go at some point?
Honestly, nah. You know, I believe God has a plan and everything happens for a reason. So I feel like, you know, that kind of happened, and, you know, I just had to overcome it. It was just a situation that I had to face.
Can you compare Milan now to Milan 2 years ago? And what is the difference? Don't know if you were able to gain strength or speed, or
yeah,
what your deal is.
Definitely athletically, more physically, I'm stronger. But I'd say the more mental aspect of the game, just knowing what to do and, like, who guys have and what's the concepts and just everything along with the offense. So just mentally growing my game.
Coach Huseman suggests that you have more power than it looks as though you have. What kind of back would you describe yourself as?
Like similar, like a downhill back, kind of like Adrian Peterson. You know, I'm gonna get in the hole fast, make the first guy miss, and definitely carry a guy for a few yards.
Thank you.
What's the biggest difference for an offensive player having two coordinators, or is there that much of a difference?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily. Just most of the time, you just got to be a football player and just go out there and make plays. I mean, the play calls might be a little different, and the schemes might also be a little different. But at the end of the day, it's just being able to be a playmaker.
If they're both talking, who do you listen to?
Got to multitask. You know, you got to listen to both at the same time. Kind of take in what everybody's saying.
Marlon, what was last season like for you? Different guys feel different ways about that sort of thing.
You know, last year we had another guy starting over me, so, you know, just making sure they know what they got going on and just encouraging guys and, you know, just trying to push guys to be the best, even if I'm not in the game.
Have you faced Stony Brook? I know y'all don't play him every year.
Like me personally?
Yeah. Have you been in a game with him?
Not since probably like my freshman year. It's been a minute. I haven't played at Stony Brook, no sir.
Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, what has anybody told you about, you know, Coach always says physical game.
Yeah, for sure.
What have they told you about, especially playing up there, if anything?
It's going to be a tough place to play. You know, they're going to be ready to come after us. Got a target on our backs after coming off of a W, so just got to be mentally and physically prepared to go up there and impose our will, honestly.
How much more do you appreciate being able to play this game having sat out?
Honestly, tenfold. Like, just blessed to be able to be in this position and, you know, go out there and play the game that I love, you know, and having the ability to overcome all the challenges that I face. You know, I'm also blessed to be able to do that. So, just overall, generally blessed.
How long did it take you to not be apprehensive? Do you remember a moment where you were like, oh, hey, I'm not even thinking about it?
Yeah, no, I'd probably say when I first started running again, you know, just gaining that confidence back and getting back into all my moves and whatever and whatnot. So it didn't take too long, maybe like a year or so, generally.
And what drew you to the University of Richmond? Was there something in particular about this place?
I had a great official visit. You know, they showed me a great time got to learn a lot about the program and the guys here and just kind of how, you know, the system was, but also the academic part of it, you know, being able to go to a prestigious university and be able to, you know, get my undergraduate and now my master's. So, you know, that's a very crucial part of my football career.